Everybody. This is Devin White, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're listening to the LCC Network. Go Bucks.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioner's Clubhouse and the LCC Network for the 17th episode this offseason. I almost forgot what episode we're on because we haven't really done it like that in a while. But yeah, with me today, I've got Jameson and Cody on the show for a free ball episode, if you will, the week leading up to our reveal, our draft order reveal. What's going on, y'all?
Not much.
Sorry. That's how long we've been waiting
Yeah,
for Patrick to get on the.
If you can't tell, it's 9
on the
o'clock on a
podcast.
Monday night, so we're all pretty exhausted right now.
Yeah, we're pretty worn out. But like Pat mentioned, it's a free ball episode. We kind of titled it that. We don't really have anything prepared to go over, mostly because we've got a lot more structure coming in the season, a lot more LCC stuff coming. The draft reveals next week, which I think is going to be probably one of the biggest episodes of the offseason, right, guys? I mean, I think we're all pretty stoked to see where we're going to be picking from.
I think that's where you finally get to, actually set a plan, a foundation, at least for the first couple of rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think it'll be easier, too, to mock draft after we know the draft order, at least a little bit, with guys have tendencies, I think, that we've developed over years. So it might be a little bit easier to do that as well. But so today, I mean, I think during these times, I just like to look back on maybe some of our favorite memories or players, from our childhood. I know it's sometimes different from depending on who's listening, what era of football you might look to as the greatest, right? But I think for us, it's probably like late 90s, maybe, through the 2000s.
Yeah.
We were talking off the show about some of our favorite plays, and we talked about like the Deshaun Jackson punt return where he drops it right in the Meadowlands, picks it up. Matt Dodge was told by Tom Coughlin, we didn't know this till much later, to punt everywhere but Deshaun Jackson. Like punt it away. Don't let him touch the ball. Punt it right to him. He drops it, picks it up, runs all the way to the end zone. That's probably one of the most memorable plays, of my childhood. But just fun stuff like that, guys.
Was that your childhood, though? I feel like, dude, you were in college at that point, weren't you? Like, that wasn't that long ago.
I was like 14. That was like 2008, 2007.
Really? I could have swore that was like 2010, dude.
No, because I remember because I was in the hospital, which was 08. Yeah,
Okay.
that's how I remember.
I got dark.
Yeah, it was that year. That's the year. I think that's the year that Cardinals beat the Eagles in the playoffs, and they went to the Super Bowl when they played the Steelers. And lost. Cody, and lost. Speaking of plays, we talked about James Harrison off the show too, and the Santonio Holmes catch as some of the greatest ones of our time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Same game.
Same game. I look back at that now because I watched it on. What did I watch? Like 100 greatest catches of the decade, or I can't remember what it was, and that was on there, and I forgot how tight that window was that Big Ben threw that into. Like, have you guys watched that play recently? It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was incredible. And then James Harrison, 100 yards to the house. And Cody, you mentioned that you were hoping that the Steelers were going to cut James Harrison before that season or something like that.
Not right before that season, but like, early 2000s. I mean, he had been cut by us before. So like, my thought process was let's go into the draft. Let's get an outside linebacker, especially, I mean, this was right before Joey Porter was about to leave. And boy, was I wrong.
What about, Pat, you're a Carolina fan. What about the raining the game, just a monsoon where the Panthers played the Jags?
Yes. I was at that game.
Rookie season?
I was at that game with Jordan and Matt, all three of us. Oh, and another guy we went to high school with. And we were all at that game. And I remember like sitting there, I was like, dude, I think it's going to rain. Like, I see these dark clouds in the distance, like just brewing. And like, but it didn't call for rain. It was really weird. And then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, dude, it was a monsoon. Like, the whole field was flooded. It was like a waterfall going down. the stairs of the stadium. It was crazy, but they were still playing, which was the funny part about it. And I just remember guys were slipping and sliding all over the damn place. Like Jordan was in his chair, like the water was like halfway up his wheels or maybe past that point. It was crazy the amount of rain that had come down. I've never seen anything like that before in a sporting event. But that was definitely memorable for me, like just physically being there. But I think one of the ones, like if you take away that Panther bias, that I look back is the tuck rule, New England and the Raiders and the snow. Like that was like when you think of a championship game or playoff game, like that's the kind of weather I think of. Just real shitty, freezing weather that players have to overcome. And, you know, obviously we know the story. New England ends up winning the game because of that, wins the Super Bowl. So I don't know. That was one that came to my mind when you were talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little earlier on in our at least in my 10 years of football fan. But yeah, that's probably one of the most historic plays of all time, given how Tom Brady's career ended up going. And then you guys mentioned the tuck rule off the show, or not the tuck rule, the helmet catch. That was like the first one that you both had like shouted out.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
which was incredible.
16-0 Patriots with Randy Moss and Tom Brady. Probably other than like Jerry Rice and Joe Montana or Steve Young and Jerry Rice, there's probably never been a duo quite like that. Brady, one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. Randy Moss, one of the greatest wide receivers in NFL history, but get beat against the New York Giants, who probably really didn't have any business being in the Super Bowl to begin with. If I'm recalling that right, I want to say they made it in there as like the last seed or maybe second last seed. It was something crazy.
Yeah, they were a wild card.
Yeah, they were. Isn't it weird to look back and think that Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls?
Eli Manning has as many Super Bowl rings as his brother. I mean, that's the one that, and for the longest time he had more, which was so funny because everyone knew Peyton was the better quarterback, but Eli was just on the better team, I guess, over those years.
Yeah, it was definitely. Yeah, I mean, at the time, I don't think it was as bad, but even then, he was never like. Do you guys remember conversations of Eli Manning being elite? Because I don't ever remember that. I always felt like he was very solid, but I never remember anybody going, "Ooh, I have to have Eli Manning."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I don't remember that either.
He never like performed in the regular season, really. If you like go back and look, so nobody's going to do that fantasy wise. And I don't know. He's always been in the conversation as Eli Manning a Hall of Famer?
Oh.
Like that's the question. And if you can't say that Eli Manning's elite, then is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer?
I don't know. It's the stats and the 2 MVPs and the 2 Super Bowl rings say yes, but I don't know.
He was elite for a short window, in my opinion. Most of his career, I wouldn't say he was elite, but for certain years, like the years that they won the Super Bowls, yeah, he was at his peak at that time. Actually, you could even argue his peak was a little after that. Because you guys remember that regular season game, New Orleans and the Giants in the Superdome, like Breeze and Eli had some crazy numbers they'd put up in that game. I guess because he didn't really need to run the ball at all, but still. Eli, I mean, he had his moments where he was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, I think his brightest moments are definitely on the brightest stage. That's what helps him.
Yeah.
Do you guys think if Phillip Rivers had gone to the Giants instead of Eli, that he would have won a Super Bowl?
Yes.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I think so too.
Phillip's better than Eli.
I would agree with that. I'm fine with that. I think you could make the argument either way, but I'm fine with that statement.
Yeah.
So what about? So we're in draft season. We're getting close. We're not in draft season yet. We're in off-season mode in fantasy. We're talking a lot about drafting. We're getting close to doing some activities in our other league. What about? We talked a little about James Harrison. Are there any real-life picks that you are like so right about or so wrong about, whether your team or elsewhere, just like in the draft? I know off the show we talked about Jimmy Clausen, how Patrick and I were excited about his NFL prospects, and he was absolutely terrible. But is there anyone else that like comes to mind that you can think of? Like, man, I like that guy and he didn't perform, or vice versa. Like throughout your childhood, anywhere?
I would say, like, because of injuries or just because they weren't good.
I mean, I don't know. Either way, I guess.
Because I get injury wise, like there were a couple guys who got cut short of their career. Dan Morgan as a Panther fan and John Beeson, both great linebackers when they were healthy. Especially Beeson, he was way better than Dan Morgan ever was. But because of their concussion history and stuff, man, it cut him short, like shorter than it did Luke. And that's
now
crazy.
Luke's kind of gone the same way. I mean, Luke's wasn't that short, but it's kind of gone the same way. Which is sad.
I'm trying to think. I can speak for my brother on this one. He was a big David Carr fan when we signed him in Carolina, and I think more than anyone, he was super hyped about David Carr being our starting quarterback, and that did not go well.
No, it didn't. Sorry, I didn't expect to hear about David Carr. I was watching something on ESPN the other day about how the Texans, they were so excited to pick him and in their inaugural season, and how how he got obliterated behind that paper sack offense line for most of his career.
And he goes to Carolina. It's
funny, but
even worse.
Yeah. Yep. I remember. So speaking of Carolina quarterbacks, I remember a game. I was never a huge Jake Delhomme. I liked Jake Delhomme. He was solid, but there was a game near the end of his Carolina tenure where they were playing the Jets, and he went to throw the ball to Steve Smith, and it bounced off of Steve Smith's ankle up into the air, and Darrelle Revis caught it and returned it for a touchdown.
Dude, I watched that the other day. I watched that play the other day. I was like, that was such bullshit. Oh my God, it made me mad.
Terrible.
Just watching it again like years later.
It was that moment, and I haven't seen that play in years, but it's burned in my memory. It was that moment I had enough. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with Jake Delhomme. I don't want to see him again. Like, that's it. It's over. And I just kept that not that anger, I guess, but that memory for, I don't know. God, it's been probably 10 years, 12 years. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, for the question in general, like in terms of any first round pick that didn't pan out, dude, I was always hoping would do better. Like I was always rooting for. I feel like I always root for like the high rated players just because I always have high expectations. So like you want those people to live up to them. But in terms of, I don't know, really investing in somebody. First of all, Martavius Bryant, I was invested in, had a good year and then just could not. Yeah. I mean,
God, no, dude.
Couldn't stay on the field. Dude, he's a heck of a stud. He's an athlete, like for sure. But man, he just didn't want to play football, I guess.
I remember when Patrick was so excited about him in fantasy. Like when he had him.
Oh, dude, I was.
Keeper or something like
No, I got him off the waiver wire, man. I got him off the offseason waiver wire, and I was convinced I was getting a stud in like the second or third round at the waiver wire. I was so convinced.
Hey, you always think you're getting a stud. Like I haven't probably made a waiver wire pick that I wasn't like, man, I just got a freaking steal.
That's true. Nobody drafts a guy and goes, man, we'll see. It's always the utmost confidence.
First round pick. I don't feel confident about it.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, after every little roster move, dude, I'm over here roster being like, man, I can't believe I just made that move right there. That was pat yourself on the back, you know.
Everyone has that. It's crazy how everybody will have that feeling. Like we'll talk to people after the draft and stuff. It's like, hey, what'd you think? Oh man, my roster's an A+. There's no way I don't win the whole thing. And you're like, what? No way. My roster's an A+. It's the whole league.
Dude, one of the ones where you just saw this guy totally eat shit after the minute he made that pick, and everyone like just from the very beginning is like, "Oh, dude, that was dumb." Was the year Storm drafted Ocho Cinco in the first round when he had just got to New England, and he was convinced, dude, it's Randy Moss 2.0. Like, trust me, like this is gonna work. Anyway, dude, a first round pick? Are you crazy? Like, sure, draft him at some point. My God, like, there's so many better players available.
Hey, if you ask Storm now, no regrets.
No regrets.
Oh man.
Nah,
I forget.
He's no. I remember that fucking day, like blanking my mind, and dude, he was convinced, and he was yelling the whole time. But like that's every two. I think I've come away from him maybe like 5 deals, and I'm just like, man, I might have been effed right there. I might have just like I don't think I made a good choice. But sometimes those come out to be a little better than you think. Like I don't know. Sometimes I get lucky. Sometimes, most of the time, I don't.
Dude, let me ask you this. Tell me if this is a legit contender in their division. I'm just gonna name a couple of the players, and you tell me this isn't a squad. The Arizona Cardinals have Isaiah Simmons now, Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, Patrick Peterson, Christian Kirk, Chandler Jones, Kenyon Drake. That's 8 players
Buda
just off
Baker.
the roster that I rattled off.
You've got Buda Baker.
Well, okay, Buda Baker. I stole this from NFL on Fox. They posted something on Facebook earlier, and I was like, wow, dude, like that is a loaded team.
I'm very excited.
It's young though.
It is very young.
It is, but they got some
the
age.
most
Jeremy
part.
Patrick Peterson's been around. You know, Kenyon Drake, Chandler Jones, Larry, DeAndre.
Yeah, but when you add like a DeAndre and a Simmons and really, I mean, Drake, I don't even think anybody knows what Kenyon Drake is yet, honestly. But you add all these guys, and it gets exciting, you know, and it's quick, it's fast,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like everybody's got these high expectations. But especially with the time that's happening now, like none of these guys are having time to mesh. So all these guys, I could see Arizona having a good year, not this year, but the year after that.
So can they? I think at this point, if you're looking at that division, it's crazy how fast the West has changed because the Niners went from nothing to in the Super Bowl in 1 year. The Rams before 2017 were trash for more than a decade.
Yeah.
And I think they've kind of fallen off now. It's weird to think that they were kind of the top there for a little bit. Now they're, at my opinion, probably at the bottom. The Seahawks have been solid for 10 years. You know, it feels like. How do you guys rank that division now? I think it's very competitive now.
Yeah, I will say this first off. Like, that division is so flip-floppy. I swear there's a team drafted in the top 5, and then the year after that, they're, like, almost going to the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Rams,
Yeah.
I mean, the Rams did it with golf. The 49ers did it this past year, and I feel like the 49ers did it about
contending.
7 or 8 years. Well, Seattle, even before, like, Seattle wasn't that great without Russell. You know what I'm saying? Russell's kind of giving them that stability. But, like, they weren't great. I remember the Cardinals had a couple really good seasons, in the late 2000s? Yeah. Carson Palmer. Well, Kurt Warner, I don't even count the Carson Palmer years. Those weren't even that good, really. I mean, what?
They went to the
they
NFC
made the
Championship.
playoffs. Okay,
Yeah.
so once. Okay, I can deal with that. I mean, I just don't think they were ever like an actual threat like what they were with Kurt Warner. But like, anyways, the point being is I feel like that they have such like rises and falls in that like division. None like any other. I mean, I guess y'all's in terms of Carolina, like a lot of people. I mean, it took a while for somebody to win it back-to-back years.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like there's so much fluctuation in that division than any other division. Like, go to Pittsburgh's division in the North, AFC North. Like, Cleveland always stinks. You know, Cincinnati genuinely always stinks. Like,
Yeah, they're
they had
average.
a couple of decent years.
Average to bad.
Like, but there's so much fluctuation in that division more than any other division. It's so ridiculous. And to answer your question, Jameson, I will go 49ers. I will go probably the Seahawks. No, I'll go 49ers. Yeah, I'll go 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals.
Ooh.
And
Oh,
is that
Rams
it?
ahead of Cardinals. Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
I've got the
Okay.
Cardinals ahead of the Rams. I've got the Rams at the bottom of that division.
I think I do too, but they're very close. They're very close. I could see either argument being made, but I can't, and none of us did. I don't think how you could put either one of those two ahead of the Seahawks or the Niners right now. So, but I could see them being 3 and 4 being flip flopped.
Well, in my opinion, I don't think the Cardinals are that far off from Seattle, and that's a bold statement for sure, considering how dominant Seattle's been for so long now. But
hold on, Pat.
You want to crown them? Then crown them.
For real. Back when he was in Arizona. But no, I mean, that's just how I feel. They've got so much talent there. I feel like that they could do something. Did you guys see the NFL power rankings, by the way, from ESPN?
No, I haven't looked at it yet.
I'll just go through it real quick. Number 10, Dallas. Number 9, Minnesota. Number 8, Tennessee. Number 7, Tampa Bay. Number 6, Green Bay. Number 5, Seattle. Number 4, New Orleans. Number 3, San Francisco. Number 2, Baltimore. Number 1, Kansas City.
I think that's pretty solid. Do you guys have that much confidence in the Titans at number 8?
No, I don't. I mean,
don't either.
They're basically saying Tennessee and Tampa, they're about the same. Come on. Like, that seems crazy to me.
Why?
I don't know if I can expect Tennessee to replicate what the magic they found in the last 8 games last year. I don't know. I feel like we've seen that before with different teams, and maybe it'll be different. But again, I'm not the biggest Derrick Henry fan, so maybe there's some bias there on my end. But I don't know.
I think they're definitely a contender, probably the favorite to win their division this year, but still.
I don't
expect them to go very far.
Weak? I think the division is I think it's good. I think there's 3 teams that could win the division. Well, I mean, Indianapolis, I think, is a very good team. I think Indy could definitely be over 500. I think Houston will be over 500. I understand Houston has made some very sketchy moves, but that doesn't make them not a good team.
Oh, they're still capable of winning that division for sure.
Yeah, when you got a top 10 quarterback, then you're more than capable of winning a division any type of year. So, like, in terms of depth in a division, who's the 4th team in that division?
Jacksonville.
The Jags.
They're obviously the last team, but like, I don't even think they'll be that bad. I just think there's a lot of like parity, a lot of, I think they're very close to the same type of skill level. I think all of them could definitely win 10 games. Like, I think they're all like good enough to win 10 games, like outside of Jacksonville.
I'll put it this way. I would have put Minnesota and Dallas ahead of Tennessee on that list because they have Minnesota at 9, Dallas at 10. I would put either one of those teams ahead of Tennessee.
No way.
Yeah, I would too. Even though Minnesota's gonna be pretty cash strapped here soon, like in the present, they're loaded. I mean, 2 or 3 years down the road, they might have some issues, but in the present, they're absolutely loaded.
I feel like you're discounting like what Vrabel's done and the fact that their defense is really good.
Oh no, their
really
defense
good.
is good. I'm still not buying into Tannehill yet, personally. I got to see it another year. I've got to see another year of success there because I haven't seen true success from Tannehill until this past year. So until then, I'm not going to judge him. I'm not going to say he's bad. I'm not going to say he's good. I'm just saying he's still like middle of the road. That's on a really strong defense. And we've seen throughout NFL history, you can win Super Bowls with an average quarterback and a good defense. But I just think those other teams are ahead of them as a whole unit.
I think Dallas' secondary is trash, and I think they're going to be exposed. I really do. Like, I mean,
He should tell
who's
Derek
their
that
best
in the
corner?
group chat.
Like, I'm just like, really think about it. Like, they don't have any. Do they have a safety that's in the top 25? One safety.
No, definitely not.
Like at their position,
I don't know.
do they have one cornerback that's in the top 25 at their position? Yeah, they
Not
drafted
anymore.
Diggs. Do we expect a rookie? And to be honest with you, there's not too many Alabama corner rookies that I've seen do well in the past 10 years. Like, I think Marlon Humphreys has had a pretty good career so far, but outside of him, tell me a good Alabama cornerback coming into the NFL that's succeeded. It's not very high.
See, but their defense, I mean, they've got a couple solid pieces there in the D line and the linebacking core, but I think the offense can. I mean, what we saw last year, if Dak can replicate some of that, I think it can carry them a lot. Like not to the same degree. No, don't get crazy, or not the same degree the Chiefs did in 2018, but I think it can absolutely carry them.
Is it weird that I don't see Dak I see Dak as a good quarterback. I see Dak as a competent quarterback that puts up numbers at the end of the day. It looks good. But during the game, is Dak going to be the one that's going to win a Super Bowl? I don't think so.
No,
I
definitely
think
not.
I think Dak's gonna be Tony Romo. Dak's gonna put up numbers. Dak's gonna look really good, and people are gonna be like, "Why are they not winning the Super Bowl at the end of the year?" Because this guy's putting up fantastic numbers. This guy's putting up fantastic numbers.
Yeah,
And this guy's putting up fantastic numbers. And why are they not winning the Super Bowl? It's because they don't have the right guys.
Yeah, let's not get crazy. I don't want anyone to hear what I'm not saying. I don't think the Cowboys are going to win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott or anything like that. And not even saying the Titans are bad. I think the Titans are solid. I just don't. I personally don't have them at 8. But I don't think even putting the Cowboys at 9 or 8, I still don't think that they're going to win a Super Bowl. Are they capable? Maybe, but I don't think they're going to win one, especially not with how loaded some of the AFC is on the other side. I mean, I know they're in the NFC, but and even some of the studs in the NFC, like the Niners, I think the Packers can be strong. I think you have some other teams, of course, the Saints and the Vikings can surprise people, things like that. So, but yeah, no, they're not going to win a Super Bowl. Absolutely. We can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Sure.
If they weren't in such a weak division, they wouldn't win their division.
I think that's fair. That's a fair argument. Absolutely. Well, guys, it's been fun. I enjoy these types of things, these types of episodes, but we've got to wrap it up before we go too long. So next week is, like we said, the LCC draft order reveal. That's going to be very, very exciting. We'll figure out something fun to do. We probably won't do it live, just given the technical issues we had last time.
Good God.
We definitely wanted to be kind of high. Yeah. We wanted to be high quality, so we'll put it together real nice and whatnot. But that'll be fun to get out. Feel free to comment on this video with some of your thoughts. Some of your favorite memories. Plays, players. What you think about some of the NFL standings, all that stuff. And I think the NFL schedule is revealed this Thursday, right? This week.
It is. It is this Thursday. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's gonna be fun. I'm sure we'll be talking a little bit about that in the future too. So, anything else from you guys before we get off?
No, that's it.
That's it for me.
All right. I'll play us out. See you next week.
See ya.